Occasionally the university has a few timetabling pressures. We can deal with them in a number of different ways. I'd like your view on what you would prefer. We could have classes on Wednesday afternoons. We could have more classes after 6 p.m. We could do more of what we did in the first semester, which is to go off campus. Or we could relieve the pressures altogether and reduce a number of optional modules.
Well, I wouldn't want to say do more classes during Wednesday afternoons because every student needs a time off.
So that you'd definitely not propose that?
I would not propose the Wednesday one. No student wants to have lectures after 6 o'clock, so off-campus is a possible option if there's proper transport. I would say, especially for final year students, you would not want to reduce the number of optional modules for them. In first year, it's more understandable if there's less optional modules because you're trying to create a base for every year.
It's a really tricky one because I would personally say none of those and do something like figuring out how to timetable it properly and maybe using other space. At the beginning of this last semester, when the economics went to Guildford College and the Odeon, I think the priority there should have been putting them in University Hall.
We know from Student Voice Forum that there's a bit of a mix of views with a lot of students, generally speaking, wanting timetabled sessions that don't go into the evening, that don't go into Wednesday afternoons. But there are some who it works better for to do that. And of course there's also the review happening at the moment to try and thin out the number of optional modules that don't have a great uptake from students so that some of these pressures can be relieved.
As part of its recently published strategy, the university needs to grow. Do you have a view on how many students we should recruit every year?
I know that the current strategy is to recruit 18,000 by 2020, but right now we really don't have the resource to do that. So unless we've got buildings in place, timetabling sorted out, catering services available, I don't have a specific number, but I don't think getting to 18,000 by 2020 is a good move.
Unless Surrey is able to match the increase in support services and the increase in provision for these students, we're not in a position to continue taking students. I'm not against growing student numbers, but at the moment, university here is becoming an increasingly depersonalised sort of experience.
I'd say the university will have to consider the facilities available for the students while they're trying to increase the growth of the student population, study spaces and how long they're open for. Increase the student population based on that. As you increase the student population and there's not enough facilities, you're reducing the student experience for those who are already here.
In terms of those facilities, where would you put the number one priority?
I think right now, the library, given that it houses additional learning support, Splash and a lot of the sort of provision for students who want some support in their learning, as well as being a really valuable study space and for some students a social space.
I think it's really hard to give a number one priority because obviously there's lecture theatres, studio space for the library, obviously still stretched to the limit. Centre for Wellbeing, ideally we'd have a whole nother building built, and then obviously catering services as well.
During the exam period we had a number of more study spaces available, more 24-hour study spaces. If those can be more available to students during the rest of the year.
Not just at the academic peak?
Not just the academic peak, that would be really good.